Go.
Hi, this is Regina Goodner. Guys, I'm actually calling Officer Bales. She's another one in internal affairs that I've tried to get some basic answers from regarding the latest case that was finally dismissed, where I was charged with disturbing the peace and I think it was harassment when I was the crime victim and hit in the head where I already had some problems from some things. I had breast cancer stuff. But listen, so I'm going to call her instead of Sheriff Robinson, and I'm going to record it. I've left messages about every day. Again, Sheriff Robinson is the sheriff of Arapahoe County. She's somebody in internal affairs. And to say they've been uncooperative is an understatement. And I think, obviously, they're absolutely in shock, especially after this is now the third situation with them in several years, and just a little single mommy running her life, going through a lot of health problems and everything else. Anyway, bottom line is all they've done is bully me and basically try to ruin my life, and really sick things. And I kind of understand now finally why this would happen to somebody like me that was once on their side, even after one of the other incidences. And I see now that once I found you guys, that this is not all for naught, that some of us are supposed to stand up to them and hold them accountable, if nothing else, for those that can't even speak for themselves. That's another story, the things that I've seen, and I know y'all have. So anyway, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and call her and leave her a similar message that I left for Captain Holstein yesterday, and have also been in touch with Sheriff Robinson. And I think, as I mentioned before, it's 500,000 residents, again, where now they think the ex-sheriff has murdered people, the one that, is all over national news for being a meth dealer, which that doesn't even have anything to do with my case. But obviously they're pretty upset that people like me are now aware of it. So anyway, okay, so this is going to be the call to, her name's Nikki Bales. And again, this is just a few of the things. This is just going to highlight a couple of things, and it does go back to 3 incidences, so I'm going to kind of skip around, but they certainly know what it all means, and when you guys have time.
Hi, you reached Nikki Bales at the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office. My normal working hours are Monday through Thursday, 7 to 5:30. Please leave your name, phone number, and a case number if you have it, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks.
Hi, Mrs. Bales. This is Regina Goodner. It is Sunday, March 4th. Could you call me back? My number is 720-648-2498. I've left you, I know, I don't know, several messages, but I'm still trying to get a hold of somebody there, and I've exchanged emails a little bit with Sheriff Robinson and Captain Holstein, but I'm not getting very far. And if somebody could just call me back, or email me at goodmanreg@yahoo.com, anything would help. Because I think, as you're aware, I'm trying to get down there to file internal affairs complaints against Richard Sheets and the 2 officers that were involved in the Walgreens incident. And I thought that, by just asking for that, I could get it. But I'm not having much luck. Plus, internal affairs had also told me that I needed to come down there and do it in person, and there were some other issues about requesting the records. And again, I know this is going to get real lengthy if I have to leave 2 messages. I'll try to talk briefly and as fast as I can about each thing. But anyway, so I'm trying to get their names and badge numbers. And also, I found something anyway that says that the complaints can be filed over the phone or by fax. So that would definitely be my preference until I can get a couple of the initial questions answered. For instance, I've asked several times if it can be, if the interview during my complaints can be recorded by me, and if I can have a third party present. And so I need to find that out, and I also need to find out ahead of time how I can go about receiving my file, especially whatever Robert Cornuke, when he was under investigation for stalking me and my daughter. You may recall when I was a witness in a federal lawsuit against him, but anyway, I know you're aware of all that, and seriously you guys took it and were very helpful initially, and I'm not sure what happened. But then when Detective Sheets, I guess, found out that Cornuke was a former police officer, and somehow everything went awry, and he was given my file, which I guess you're aware. He then turned around and called my employer, called the partners at the law firm that I work for, called the new job that I started, and then took it and sued me in civil court for slander. And as you can imagine, I was very limited on resources and went through about a year of litigation. You know what? Never mind that. Let me go into the other request, and I know you really want to help. So any help would be really, really appreciated at this point. So please, if you can, provide me with the full names and the badge numbers of Richard Sheets and the two officers that accused me during an argument over a bottle of Tide laundry detergent price. When I took a plea to save my job over something that I didn't even do, and there was no victim whatsoever. But anyway, when those cops accused me of racist comments. So in particular, officer, I really do want that because, as you can imagine, because I'm certainly not a racist, I really would like to understand that better and what was said and then used against me and then be brought into court with no attorney, no breast, no hair, tubes coming out of me, and had to stand in front of a judge and take no contest and then serve a year of probation for something everybody full well knew that I hadn't done. So this is just, I think, as you're aware, has gone a little far. So I'm trying to get those answers that I mentioned to you first. The other thing is, in the most recent one, that, as you know, was finally dismissed after a year and a half of me fighting it. I'm trying to find out, first of all, if bench warrants were ever issued for the alleged victims, and also, you know, since I was the crime victim and hit in the head on my left temporal lobe, but, you know, Crystal Beverly failed to appear in court, what, 3 times? And then Mildred Smiley, who was this supposed victim in this, also never appeared. I think, well, they're criminal matters. I'm trying to figure out through the court if bench warrants were ever issued for their arrest for failing to appear, because I'm not understanding why, if not, why this moved forward for a year and a half, which leads to my next question.
The maximum length for a recording. To send this message now, press pound or hang up. To mark it, your message has been sent. If you would like to try an extension, you may do so now. Hi, you've reached Investigator Nikki Bales at the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office. My normal working hours are Monday through Thursday, 7 to 5:30. Please leave your name, phone number, and a case number if you have it, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks.
Hi, Officer Bales. It's Regina Goodner again. So sorry about that. I did fill up your voicemail, so I'll try to talk real quickly. So that's why I'm calling back the second time. And I think you're aware, if I didn't tell you before, I apologize. You know, this is being recorded and witnessed by a third party. So anyway, continuing my inquiry. So that's what I was asking next, as I was trying to get some answers from the court directly, and they told me to call the prosecutor, which I don't understand what that has to do with it. But if you can clarify, or somebody can there, how that's going to work. And the other thing that I was trying to determine is where it's kept in Arapahoe County as far as records of cost for litigation and people being brought. And, you know, as you know, this time I actually got a public attorney because, as you're aware, I know about my head injury and the illnesses and my loss of my job. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out where the costs are, itemizations for the public, so that I have some kind of an idea what the cost involved were here. You know, for the time for the judge and the time in court and the time for the public defender, and certainly my time for a year and a half, and so on. So if you could lead me in that direction, that would really be really, really helpful. And the only other thing that I'm going to mention right now is I'm trying to find out, as you know, I had wanted to come down on a completely separate issue, that being my pleas really going all the way back to the Cornuke incident, where I feel like my daughter and myself have been in imminent danger several times. Certainly had every sign that somebody has stalked us and watched us. Now, I understand that it seems to just be ignored, and I'm not sure why. I don't understand. I'd like to see the bloody shirt when you guys were called, when somebody left a bloody shirt on our balcony when we were still living on Peakview, shortly after the incident with Mildred Smiley, so on. I'm trying to figure out if you guys ever put any link between that and the cigarette butts that were left inside of a barbecue grill through a security gate and over our private 4-foot fence. When we don't smoke, no one here smokes. But anyway, you're aware of that, and I had given you guys samples when I had you, and I'm trying to figure out what lab work turned up, if there was any correlation between those two things, and the handprints on the windows, and furniture being moved around at the other place, screens being removed several times, someone showing up at our door late at night. And I think, as that all of this first started happening, that's when I had told the people over at Peakview that we were going to get a dog, a watchdog, and I think you know how that turned out too. In the end, for all of his bravery, albeit misguided, um, as you know, he was euthanized. So it was certainly helpful to have him there, but I do not feel that we're safe. There's been many, many other suspicious incidences going on here. And then the last thing, and I'll let you go for now, just please call me back, is I'm trying to figure out, because since the court date, when it was finally dismissed, and I had to hand over a lot of photographs that were very personal of my double mastectomy and the infections and everything else to try to show who was actually sick in this situation. And that was very, very hard on me, and I had to share a lot of private stuff. But the most concerning, I think, is there's some pretty strong evidence that my daughter's biological father, who his complete whereabouts are undetermined, but we think in Georgia, we're trying to figure out, because it certainly appears that he was given a lot of personal information there, and told apparently that I was going to be arrested that day and he was going to be able to take my child. And as I mentioned to you before, unfortunately, there really are people that actually do abuse their children. And I would hope anyway that what I have to give you in an affidavit form, that I need you guys to handle through policy, not just through Child Protective Services, but what the requirements are when it's given directly to the sheriff's office, that you certainly take it seriously, that this is who was empowered and actually could have gotten, I guess, certainly my daughter in prior incidences, thanks to the Walgreens incidents, which cost me my job, as well as the situation with Robert Cornuke. So I think I've covered what I can right now. I'll certainly be in touch again. Okay, that's all I'm going to do for now, but gives you an idea. And you guys hang in there, and I'll be in touch soon, and God bless.